We are less than 2 weeks away from the conclusion of the NHL regular season, so I wanted to make a video going over the most underpaid player from every team this season. And as always, when it comes to videos like this, we are not going to be including entry-level contracts, or they would make up pretty much the entire list. We usually start these videos off with the Anaheim Ducks, so let's change things up today and go in reverse alphabetical order, starting off with the Winnipeg Jets. And my pick for their most underpaid player this season is definitely going to be defenseman Dylan Samberg. He set a new career high in points this season with 19 in just 55 games. Despite the fact that he doesn't play on the power play, all of those points have came at even strength. He's a great penalty killer, elite defensively. I definitely think Dylan Samberg has solidified himself as the clear-cut second best defenseman on the Jets behind Josh Morrissey. Moving on now to the Washington Capitals, this is a very easy one. It's got to be Alexei Protas, who has been one of the biggest breakout stars in the NHL this season. Career highs across the board with 30 goals and 66 points in 76 games. One of the most efficient even strength point producers in the entire NHL. The only players with a higher even strength points per 60 minutes than Alexei Protas this season are Leon Draisaitl, Kirill Kaprizov, David Pastrnak, Nikita Kucherov, and Alexander Ovechkin. That is some pretty elite company. It's only been one season, but it's already looking like the 5-year extension the Capitals signed Protas to is one of the best value deals in the entire league. Next up, we have the Vegas Golden Knights, and my pick for their most underpaid player this season is definitely going to be Pavel Dorofeyev, who has exploded this season for a career-high 33 goals and 50 points. His defensive analytics look great as well. In my opinion, he has quickly become one of the more underrated players in the entire NHL. It feels like he doesn't get talked about a whole lot for a guy who is leading one of the best teams in the league in goals. Next up, we have the Vancouver Canucks. I'm not going to overthink this one. I think their most underpaid player is Quinn Hughes, who has a cap hit of just $7.85 million. Quinn Hughes is in the conversation for being the best defenseman in the NHL. It's a shame this incredible season that he's had has kind of been tainted by all the early season drama that was going on with the Canucks and the fact that they're likely not going to make the playoffs. But even with that being said, and despite the fact that he has missed some time, I'm still fully expecting Quinn Hughes to be a Norris Trophy finalist. Moving on now to Utah. I'm going to go with Michael Kesselring as their most underpaid player. Not the biggest name by any means, but he has really developed into a very steady two-way defender for this team. He set a new career high in points this season with 26 in 77 games. All but 3 of those points have came at even strength. He's rock solid defensively, and despite the fact that there are 5 other defensemen on Utah who average more ice time per game than Kesselring, he's 4th among Utah defensemen in blocks and 2nd among Utah defensemen in hits. Moving on now to the Maple Leafs, I'm definitely going with Bobby McMann as their most underpaid player this season. A cap hit of just $1.35 million, and he already has 20 goals in just 68 games. And it's not like he gets a ton of minutes every night either. He has really developed into a very efficient goal scorer for this team, and he's one of those players where you can slot him in on the 4th line and he can be effective in that role, but you can also play him in the top 6 on a line with guys like Matthews and Marner, and he's not going to look out of place. Moving on now to the Tampa Bay Lightning, I am going with Brandon Hagel as their most underpaid player this season. This guy seems to just continue to get better and better every single year. He's put up career highs across the board this season with 34 goals and 82 points in 76 games. He's a fantastic two-way winger, very good on the penalty kill. In my opinion, $6.5 million for Brandon Hagel for 7 more seasons following this one is one of the best contracts in the NHL. Next up, we have the Blues. This is an easy one. It's got to be Dylan Holloway, who has a cap hit of just $2.29 million. I think we all expected Dylan Holloway to have a bit of a breakout season in St. Louis, given the fact that he would likely be playing in a much larger role, getting a lot more opportunity than what he got in Edmonton. But I don't think anybody could have seen this coming. 26 goals and 63 points for Dylan Holloway in 77 games. He has turned into a legit force for the St. Louis Blues in their top 6. He's obviously been a huge part of this late season run that the Blues have been on. His underlying numbers look great, and he's still only 23 years old. Can't say enough good things about Dylan Holloway and the season he's having. The Blues' decision to offer sheet both him and Philip Broberg continues to just look better and better week after week. Next up, we have the Seattle Kraken, and I'm going to go with Jared McCann as their most underpaid player. He has been their most consistent forward really ever since they became a team. He's led the Kraken in points in each season they've been in the league so far. He's going to lead them in points again this season. Just a really solid, well-rounded top 6 forward, and I'm interested to see what the future holds for him as Seattle continues to build for the future. Jared McCann still has 2 more years left on his deal following this season, but there's no doubt about it, if they ever do decide to trade him, I think the return could be massive. Next up, we have the San Jose Sharks. This this is a bit of a tough one. Obviously, they are a very young team with a lot of entry-level deals. They've traded away guys like Fabian Zetterlund and Jake Wallman, who would have been candidates for this spot. So with all that in mind, I'm going to go with Tyler Toffoli, who I think has been a great signing for the Sharks. He's provided them with a really good veteran presence to help lead this young team. And although it hasn't resulted in very many wins, he's still been a very productive player for them. He's just 2 goals away from reaching the 30-goal mark for the 4th time in his career. Moving on now to the Penguins, not overthinking this one. I'm going with Sidney Crosby. $8.7 million a season has been a steal for Sidney Crosby for a long time, and it still is. At 37 years old, he's still one of the best players in the entire league. 86 points in just 76 games. He broke Wayne Gretzky's record this season for the most consecutive point per game seasons in NHL history. This will have been Crosby's 20th straight. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm going to go with Travis Konechny as their most underpaid player. A cap of just $5.5 million this season. Obviously, he has signed an extension, but that doesn't kick in until next season, so technically he still qualifies for this spot. He's been the Flyers' best forward for a while now. This will be his 4th straight season leading the team in points. Aside from the point production, he brings a lot of other elements to the table as well. He's an agitator. He can get under the other team's skin. He likes to throw the body. He's definitely somebody that I could see being a future captain for the Philadelphia Flyers. Next up, we have the Ottawa Senators, and I definitely have to go with Drake Batherson here. 22 goals and 61 points this season in 77 games. That's now 3 straight 20-plus goal, 60-plus point seasons. He's a really big part of the Senators core, and having a guy like that signed for less than $5 million a season is an absolute steal. Moving on now to the New York Rangers. I'm going to go with Vincent Trocheck here. Obviously, this season hasn't gone the way the Rangers were hoping it would. Vincent Trocheck's offensive production is down quite a bit compared to last season, but he still managed to put up a very respectable 22 goals and 52 points in 76 games. Plays over 21 minutes a night. He's somebody the Rangers use in pretty much all situations. For a guy who makes just $5.625 million a year, I think he's still giving the Rangers some pretty good value this season. Moving on now to the Islanders, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Noah Dobson here, but since he's had a bit of a down year, I decided to give this spot to Romanov, who has really developed into a legit top pairing guy for the Islanders this season. Big time physical presence, loves to throw the body around. Looking back on the trade where the Islanders acquired Romanov from the Montreal Canadiens for the 13th overall selection in the 2022 draft, I think if you're the Islanders, you have to be pretty happy with how things have worked out since then, because like I said, he has really turned into a very important piece on their blue line and should be in for a huge raise this summer. Moving on now to the New Jersey Devils, we have another defenseman here. It's got to be Jonathan Kovacevic, who the Devils acquired last summer from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for a 4th-round pick, which ended up being one of the more underrated additions of the offseason. Jonathan Kovacevic has been a very solid top 4 defensive defenseman for the Devils this season. Earned himself a nice extension, which doesn't kick in until next season, but man, did he ever give New Jersey fantastic value this season, considering he had a cap of less than $800,000. Moving on now to the Nashville Predators, it's got to be Ryan O'Reilly, who has a cap of just $4.5 million at 34 years old, and despite the fact that the Predators haven't had a great season, he is still a very effective 2-way top 6 center. He still has 2 more years left on his deal following this season, and if the Predators aren't able to turn things around next season, I think they should probably look at moving a guy like O'Reilly, because he would likely fetch them a really nice return in a trade. Next up, we have the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm definitely going to go with Sam Montembeault as their most underpaid player. A cap of just $3.15 million, and for the most part this season, he has been lights out for them. Such a huge part of this run they've been on to finish out the season, which could result in them making the playoffs. Right now, it's definitely their spot to lose, and like I said, Montembeault has been lights out for them all season. He's accounted for 29 of the team's 38 wins and has a goal saved above expected of over 24. Moving on now to the Wild, we have another goaltender. I'm going to go with Philip Gustafsson as their most underpaid player. After a pretty rough go of it last year, he has bounced back in a big way this season, has a save percentage of .915, a goal saved above expected of over 13.5. He's definitely been a huge part of why the Minnesota Wild have been able to remain afloat without Kirill Kaprizov in the lineup, and why they're likely going to be heading back to the postseason after missing last season. Moving on now to the LA Kings, I'm going to go with Warren Foegele as their most underpaid player this season. What an addition he has been to their middle six. He's 3rd on the team in goals with 22 in 76 games. His 2-way play has been great. He's been a very effective penalty killer for them as well. And for a team like the LA Kings, who are trying to get over the hump in the playoffs and finally beat the Edmonton Oilers in the first round, it could bode well for the Kings having a guy like Warren Foegele, who was a part of those Edmonton Oilers teams that beat the LA Kings in the first round in each of the last 3 years. Next up, we have the Florida Panthers, and this is an easy one for me. I'm going with with Gustav Forsling as their most underpaid player. He is one of the very best defensive defensemen in the entire NHL. He's no slouch offensively either. Over the last few seasons, he has given the Florida Panthers really solid offensive production at even strength from the back end. I think Florida having a guy like Forsling locked up long term for less than $6 million a season is easily one of the best contracts in the NHL. Moving on now to the Edmonton Oilers, I'm going with another defenseman here, Evan Bouchard, who has a cap hit of just $3.9 million. He's a bit of a polarizing player. He definitely has some lapses defensively that stick out like a sore thumb at times, but there's no doubt about it, he is still one of the best offensive defensemen in the entire NHL. He is a huge part of that Oilers team, and he should be in for a massive raise this summer. I wouldn't be surprised if Bouchard's next contract comes in with an AAV north of $10 million a season. Next up, we have the Detroit Red Wings. I'm definitely going with Cam Talbot as their most underpaid player. The Red Wings goaltending situation has been a bit of a revolving door this season. They've had 5 different goaltenders appear in games for them, but of those 5, Cam Talbot has definitely been the most consistent and the most reliable. If the Red Wings manage to somehow win out the remainder of their schedule and squeak into the playoffs, I think you can definitely make the argument that Cam Talbot has been their MVP this season. Moving on now to the Dallas Stars, this one's very easy. It's got to be Matt Duchene, who has been one of the best signings of the last 2 off seasons. This current contract he's on is his second 1-year, $3 million deal with the Stars. He really has been such a great fit in Dallas. This season, he actually leads the team in points with 79 in 77 games. Based off of his production, you would think he's in for a big raise heading into next season, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he signs another deal in the range of $3 million a season to stay in Dallas. I think it's pretty clear at this point, money isn't really a big worry for Matt Duchene. I mean, he is still making a boatload of money from the buyout from Nashville anyway. Moving on now to the Columbus Blue Jackets, their most underpaid player this season has got to be Kirill Marchenko, who has been one of the biggest breakout stars in the entire NHL this season. I mean, we knew the guy could put the puck in the net. He scored 20 plus goals in each of his first 2 NHL seasons, but this season he really took things to a whole other level and has blossomed into a legit all-around top-line winger for the Blue Jackets. They got to be very happy they decided to extend him when they did, because over the next few seasons they are going to be getting insane value having him signed for a cap hit of just $3.85 million. Moving on now to the Avalanche, I'm going to go with Marty Necas as their most underpaid player. He has had a big breakout season, and he was having that breakout season even before he got to Colorado. He had 55 points in 49 games with the Hurricanes, and after the Mikko Rantanen trade, which brought him to Colorado, he's been just as good. 26 points in 27 games with the Avalanche. Already has developed such good chemistry with Nathan MacKinnon. Those two are one of the more fun duos to watch in the entire NHL. Next up, we have the Blackhawks, and I'm definitely going to go with Ryan Donato here. A cap hit of just $2 million. He's had the best season of his career highs across the board with 29 goals and 59 points in 75 games. He's somebody we all expected the Blackhawks to move at the deadline because he's a pending UFA, but obviously they decided to hold on to him. He's still without an extension. For the Blackhawks' sake, I'm really hoping he ends up re-signing there, because the decision not to trade him could look pretty bad if he ends up leaving in free agency. Moving on now to the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm definitely going with Jacob Slavin, whose cap hit this season was just $5.3 million. He's another player similar to Travis Konechny who has signed an extension, but that extension doesn't kick in until next season, so that's why I went with him for this spot. $5.3 million a season has been a steal for Jacob Slavin for a very long time, as he is one of, if not the best defensive defenseman in the entire league. Moving on now to the Ducks, I'm going with Jackson Lacombe here. Huge breakout season for him. Following his ELC, he signed a 2-year deal with the Ducks with a cap hit of $925K a season, and it looks like the Ducks have a star on their hands in Jackson Lacombe. This season, he kind of out of nowhere blossomed into the Ducks' best defenseman. I say out of nowhere. Last season, he did show some promise, but I don't think anybody could have expected a jump of this magnitude. His underlying numbers look very good, and not only does he just lead all Ducks defensemen in points this season with 43 in just 69 games, there's only 2 players on the entire team with more points than him this season, and those players are Mason McTavish and Troy Terry. Next up, we have the Calgary Flames. I'm definitely going with Rasmus Andersson here, who has a cap hit of just $4.55 million. That has been one of the best contracts in the league for a few years now. Even though Rasmus Andersson is having a bit of a down year, I still think $4.5 million a season for him is phenomenal value for the Calgary Flames. The guy plays over 24 minutes a night. They use him in all situations. His name has been brought up in trade talks quite a bit over the last year and a half, because next season will be the final year of his deal. But honestly, considering all the players that have left Calgary over the last few years, I think think Calgary should do everything in their power to try and re-sign Rasmus Andersson. He's a huge part of that blue line. Moving on now to the Buffalo Sabres, I'm definitely going with Alex Tuch as their most underpaid player this season. Another 30-goal season for him, 62 total points in 76 games. He really is just a beast of an all-around top-line winger. And similar to what I said about Rasmus Andersson, because next season will be the final year of Tuch's deal, there has been some talk about him being a trade candidate. But just like I said about Andersson and the Flames, I think Buffalo should do everything in their power to try and get Alex Tuch signed long-term. It's not like Buffalo is a free agent destination. In the past, they've definitely had a bit of a hard time keeping star players around. He's a really important part of their core, and I think trading him would be a mistake unless they get some insane haul in return. And now finally, finishing up the video with the Boston Bruins, I just now realized things are a bit out of order. Anaheim should have been last, but it's whatever. My pick for the Bruins' most underpaid player this season is definitely going to be Morgan Geekie, who had a cap hit this season of just $2 million, and he's really had a big breakout season, career highs across the board with 29 goals and 51 points in 73 games. He's definitely been a huge bright spot for the Boston Bruins in what otherwise was a very disappointing season all around. His deal is up at the end of the season, but luckily for the Bruins, he's a restricted free agent, not a UFA, so there's team control there. He's a guy who's still only 26 years old, and I could see Geekie being a pretty big part of the Boston Bruins' future. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Those are my picks for the most underpaid player from every NHL team this season. As always, I want to know what you guys are thinking, so if you disagree with any of my picks, be sure to let me know what your list would look like down below in the comments. If you made it all this way to the end of the video and you ended up enjoying yourself, please remember to leave a like. It's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed, and it does help with the videos a ton. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year round, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all again soon.